Are those hard to find rare and limited bottles really better than the ones on the shelf? Stay tuned after the break to find out on a series we like to call Shelf Vs Tater. So this is episode 4 of the series we like to call Shelf Vs Tater. If you're a little confused as to what a tater is, it is the term that bourbon people use for rare and limited bottles that people go nuts over. A lot of people think it's a Buffalo Trace thing. It is not just a Buffalo Trace thing. There are tons of bottles out there like Parker's Heritage, like Old Fitz, like Jack Daniel's Coy Hill, like Willet Purple Tops that people just go absolutely nuts over. They want them so bad that they will do anything to get them. They will ask about them every time they're in the store. It's not just Blanton's, although Blanton's seems to be the scapegoat for most of this. That's just how it is. So I have 2 glasses here. One of them is what we refer to as a tater. One of them is a bottle that's decently available on the shelf, maybe not here in Pennsylvania where I'm located, but it's easy enough to find, maybe not at all times. Some of them might suffer shortages, but for the most part, these are not bottles that are going to be sold out in 10 seconds. So I have the answer key here. As you can see, it is sealed. My wife has poured these. I gave her like 10 pairings, so there's no possible way I know what these are. So the point of this is a blind tasting to see if the shelf or the tater bottle is better. So far, the tater bottles have won twice, and the shelf bottle has spectacularly won. So that's crazy. The past is behind us, starting fresh right now. So, nose it, taste it, tell you what I think. Cheers. Smells good. Like some grape. There's definitely quite a few Buffalo Trace products in here. That is where my mind goes to first. Also, got these nice, can't even see it. It's hard to see. These are the new 717 Bourbon Society Gwens. They're super cool. Love them. A little bit of cotton candy, a little bit of nuttiness, good bit of oak. Pretty dark in color. Doesn't necessarily mean something, but it doesn't necessarily mean nothing either. So generally, a higher proof, older bottle will be darker in color, or something that's double oak can be, although I don't think any of these pairings are double oaked, but does have very nice color. A little bit of like orange peel, orange marmalade. It smells like it's between 110 and 120. You can definitely get your nose in there, but it stings a little bit. Definitely not an entirely pleasant experience. Just a hint of like brown sugar sweetness. Definitely some oak, definitely some leather. It smells pretty well rounded. Let's give it a taste. Okay, so it is definitely fruit forward. Then there's like a brown sugar scone kind of thing going on. So it's like bready, it's a little drying, and then it's like sweet, but not like overly sweet. Definitely oak, definitely leather at the back end. The finish is not as much in the palate as it is here. It's got a decent Kentucky hug, whatever you want to call it. It's nice and warming down your throat, down your esophagus. Maybe some honey, a little bit of cherry maybe. I'm going to leave a little bit in here if I want to come back and check out what it's like. But for right now, this is pretty good. If this were do I like this, I would say I like this. Cleanse with a little water and move on to the next one. Letting this sit, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there are some pretty thick legs on this sucker. They're like long legs. So let's find out. Let's drink number 2. See how we stack up, and then we'll find out what's behind the envelope and ultimately what's in the glass. Whoa. Okay. So that is vanilla icing, like straight up vanilla icing on the nose, like straight out of a Betty Crocker tub. This is really honestly birthday cake. Like if we're being real here, it smells like birthday cake. Maybe a little bit of nuttiness in there. I really cannot get over birthday cake. Like this is birthday cake in a glass. It is maybe a little bit fruity, maybe a little bit sweet, maybe a little whipped cream, but it is like, this is solidly what I would expect birthday cake in a glass to be like. It's not as dark in color, smells great. I'm excited to try it. Let's move on to the palate. All right, so on the palate, it's more oak forward. There's definitely still some kind of like birthday cake thing going on, but it's like oak and then like cake icing a little bit of like maybe some dates, some dried fruits, something like that. And then it finishes with a lot of oak, a little bit of honey, maybe, a little bit of leather, maybe some breadiness to it that I attributed to cake before that's now more like a honey wheat bread. But yeah, on the nose it's still like that birthday cake is front and center, but it's kind of it's lending itself to more flavors now. That sip was pure birthday cake. That was a little bit of nuttiness, a little bit of cake icing, birthday cake, funfetti, whole 9 yards. A little bit of fruit like strawberries, maybe. I don't know what this reminds me of. Like I'm struggling to even have an idea of what this could be. I have an idea of what that could be, but I don't really have a full idea of what this is. But it's tasty. The legs actually look very similar to the other one, so I'm not 100% sure on this, but that's dang good. I would definitely say that I like these both. Gonna cleanse with some water, then try the first one again, and then we're gonna get to guesses and reveals. So, all right, finishing off number one. That smells different now. It definitely still smells like a Buffalo Trace product. I'm not really sure which one. I'm just getting that grape note. These both taste like they're in that 110 to 120 range. Not, I don't know much more past that. I definitely think it's Buffalo Trace. See if this one has anything still going on it. It's straight birthday cake. Mm. Okay. So we're done with both glasses. I'm going to explain a little bit of how I'm getting to my conclusion, and then we're going to talk about my guesses, and we'll go to our reveal. So I think glass one is a little bit richer. It's a little bit more broad of a profile. It seemed like it was older. It had a little bit more consistency to it. It seems like a Buffalo Trace product. I think it's probably in the 110 to 120 range, which really only leaves a few options. Actually, really only leaves one option out of all of Buffalo Trace's entire lineup. That would be Weller Foolproof. Not sure that's my guess yet. Could be wrong on proof, but that's where I'm trending. Number two is not like anything that I've had before. I generally have a pretty good memory of the things that I've tasted before, and like that distinct of birthday cake, especially something in my collection, is just not there. So maybe the first whiskey changed the way that I feel about the second one. Maybe it's something I haven't had in a while and it changed a good bit. I'm not sure, but it's distinct, but it's a little simplistic. Like I found that it was like very hard to dig past notes for other notes. If it's a note that you like, it's going to be something that you like. Birthday cake is unique to me to bourbon, so I think that it's something that I enjoy, but I'm going to see that there are people who don't like it. It's not particularly bourbony. It's got distinct flavors that are not typical bourbon, but I do enjoy them. So between these two glasses, I'm going to say that I like the left one more. Yeah, I'm going to say that I like the left one more. It's more well-rounded. It seems like it's more expensive. It's a better overall whiskey, but this is a dark horse for a lot of people, and I think that it is very close. I'm assuming this is the Tater. I'm assuming this is the shelf bottle just by flavor profile. Ultimately, I could be very wrong. Before I get to be more wrong, let's find out what it is. So, open this bad boy. All right. Close the knife for safety. All right. Left is Weller Foolproof. I was correct on that, but I really don't. I don't want to take a ton of credit for that because it was kind of process of elimination based on my palate. And number two is Old Emmer. So we're going to go grab those bottles, and then we're going to talk about this a little bit. Okay, so the Weller Foolproof definitely seemed like the better experience. They are, in theory, the same price, although when you're talking about Buffalo Trace products, there is a certain level of stupidity in talking about it at MSRP because they're very hard to find at MSRP in the spectrum of Buffalo Trace in the difficulty, it is one of the harder ones to find, especially one that's not a store pick. This is the blended product, and I think the store picks are a little bit more readily available. And the Old Emmer is a Total Wine Spirits Direct product. It is something that I actually have had before, but it was nothing like this. I think this is the same batch. It's at least the same proof as the one that I had for 12 days. If you want to check that out, Brett's thoughts about it will be linked above, and I definitely had very similar thoughts. I have said for quite a long time now, I'd actually put it in my alternatives to Weller Antique. I think it's an alternative to Weller Full Proof here too, and it's a good bottle. I do actually think that Old Emmer is a Buffalo Trace product that they are sourcing for Total Wine Spirits Direct, but I have no proof of that. It is an assumption that it is stock that couldn't be made into Daniel Weller for whatever reason. Maybe it didn't fit the flavor profile, whatever. I think it's great. I would honestly buy both of these. I definitely think that the Weller is better, but not by much, and especially not at secondary prices. The Weller Full Proof is, I don't know, 200, 250 some places, whereas that's 5 times more expensive than Old Emmer, and you can find Old Emmer cast strength at most of the Total Wines. The proof does vary. The ones that I saw in New Jersey, I think, were closer to the 117 proof, whereas this is closer to 120. Doesn't matter. I think they're very close. I think that you could go either way with this. Definitely think the Tater bottle is better. Is it worth hunting for? That I don't know. I think it's great. I think Weller Full Proof is a great product. I just think it is overhyped and definitely overpriced at secondary. If you can find one for MSRP, go grab it every day. I don't think there is a Buffalo Trace product that I wouldn't buy at MSRP, maybe excluding Elmer T. Lee. I like pretty much everything that they put out at MSRP. So Tater wins this battle, but it is close, and it is a story of complexity. The Old Emmer cast strength is not very complex. That's okay. If you're looking for an alternative to Weller Full Proof, we will probably do a video about that at some point, and the Old Emmer cast strength will probably end up on there. So if you like this content, check out our other videos. We have 3 other episodes of Shelf vs. Tater for you to check out. We have tons of other content. Comment on this video if you've had either of these. If you want to do this blind, that's perfectly fine. If you want to suggest content for us to do in the future, absolutely, 100%. Always love the ideas, and we'll try our best to make it. Please like and comment on this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and we hope you'll join us in drinking like a gentleman. Cheers. All right, I believe this is episode 5 of Shelf vs. Tater. Might be 4. I should check that. Get my facts straight.